Good afternoon and welcome back to Aggie Now, your source for all things Aggie.
This season we're being sponsored by Temple Coffee, and we're still giving away gift cards, so if you tell us how many shots you like in your coffee, you could win a gift card next week.
In not so great news, UC Davis is being sued by a nonprofit organization called Us Right to Know for failure to release public documents. So they're asking the university to release its documents on work regarding GMOs and pesticides and their ties with the agrochemical industry. The org's main concern is that professors at the university may be profiting from websites that share research findings with the public. So one of the websites is GMO Answers, and it's created for discussions about pesticides and GMOs. And so what it does is allows experts to answer questions concerned with the public, and the research showcases discoveries as well as clears up any misconceptions. So I guess one of the questions I had was, why is it bad for professors to profit off of giving these answers?
This company that I see, I think though, is more concerned with the profit money part of the situation. They're not really asking, okay, are you using GMOs that are bad, or what kind of GMOs are you using? They're just worried about whether professors are making profit. And so, I mean, there's no correlation between profit and health there, for me at least.
And so as I started to do more research, they started talking about how these are major companies where they're giving profit to professors to maybe alter the opinions of the professors. And so that's when I started understanding oh, this is why it's possibly bad. So instead of the facts talking, it's the money talking. But one of our distinguished professors, Kent Bradford, he has worked with UCD for 40 years in the Department of Plant and Sciences, says that what he puts on his own website is what he puts on GMO Answers, and so there's no altering. So there is a controversy of whether the documents from professors are actually being altered. So as of right now, the lawsuit demands UC Davis to release the documents, but the university has requirements on the documents to protect personal information and academics of their own, which is why they haven't released yet. So until the investigation is finalized, no permanent decision can be made about whether there's been corruption. I think it's interesting in the sense of if professors from Davis are altering their answers, what does that mean for the integrity of a school that's based on sciences? How bad would we look if it was true, right?
I don't know. It's not the only place that there's possible corruption in the school. Last year we had Katehi. This year might be what do they call it? Plant and Sciences Gate or something like that. I'm never surprised by this information, this kind of stuff, and I'm happy that organizations are willing to or can spend the money and the resources to investigate. And I'm sure it's an issue. If it's not an issue at this university, it's probably an issue at another one.
So moving on, UC Davis Police Chief Matthew Carmichael has said his goodbyes to us Aggies and is moving on to the University of Oregon. Best known for his community policing, Carmichael's staff say nothing but praise of his work. As for now, Jennifer Garcia serves as the interim chief as the 6-month chief selection process continues. Best of luck to Jennifer Garcia, serving right now, and best of luck to Matthew Carmichael at the University of Oregon. I think this is a very positive note, although it might sound sad because he has been police chief for 14 years here, and he did resign and move on to University of Oregon, but change is always good for everyone. It's a good place for growth and improvement for an individual, right?
Maybe if the next guy or person that replaces him is just as cool, then yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, yeah, he is emphasizing though community policing, which is really good, and Jennifer Garcia, the new interim chief, is also advocating that as well.
And personally, I know Chief Carmichael, and he's absolutely amazing. He's so nice to all his staff. He's super cool. They adopted cats at the police station. So just on behalf of, the Aggie Studios family, I want to wish you the best of luck and thank you for serving us all this time. We really, really would miss you so much. I wish I got to say goodbye, but I was out of the country when you left.
Oh, he already left.
He already left. Yeah, he left over the summer. So, bye.
UC Davis will establish the first state-funded firearm research center. Announced in August by University of California President Janet Napolitano, California will allocate $5 million over the next 5 years. The research center will be headed by the emergency department physician, Dr. Garen Wintemute, and their study will primarily focus on the epidemiology of firearm violence in California and conduct large-scale surveys on the prevalence of gun ownership and the factors associated with fire ownership and the benefits that fire owners tend to attribute to firearm ownership. The research will provide great insight on the history of gun violence in the United States and a perspective on the recent, tragic events that seem pretty common whenever you wake up in the morning to check the news.
Honestly, they should spend their money on gun control, I think. Guns should be taken away completely. I mean, it's a dangerous tool. People don't know how to use it, and obviously the people that are using them are using it incorrectly.
So I have a couple of friends here at UC Davis who believe in the Second Amendment, right? And in my opinion, the Second Amendment says nothing about gun ownership. It says something about forming a militia and having arms to form a militia, but that was written 200 something years ago, and we don't have militias anymore. We have police officers, right? We also need to realize is that firearms 200 years ago and firearms today are completely different beasts, right? The weaponry, the mechanization of it is completely different, right? So I think you're right. A lot of people probably need to be taught about gun safety awareness, or and we should be really focusing on keeping guns out of dangerous hands, especially people who have mentally instability or going through rough times. Don't sell them guns, please.
Yeah. Do some really, really strong research on a person, just background checks and mental stability, and really just get to know the people that people are selling guns to. Because right now, I feel getting guns are so easy in the United States that it is affecting everybody really, really badly. And for those people who are responsible gun owners, it sucks for them as well. Because, oh man, you own a gun. They might be really just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
They might not
Hunting,
be shooting at people.
Family tradition.
Yeah. So it really depends on how people go about the law, like you said.
Yeah. But the fact is guns still get into California, right? Illegal guns still get into California. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and honestly, about the story and the $5 million being allocated, $5 million is nowhere near enough, but I guess it's a start. Yeah, especially because for so long the government has been, pressured, I would say, to not do this kind of research. So the fact that it's happening here at this university it's good news.
Our next segment is called Ask an Alumni, where we bring an alum on set for an interview. This week's guest is someone you may be familiar with. He was an anchor at Aggie Now for the past 3 seasons, presenting Miguel Bagsit.
Hi Aggies.
Hi.
It's
Aggie.
weird being back and not knowing seeing this still happen is awesome for me. So congratulations on your 4th season and hopefully many more.
So what have you been up to?
That's your question. That's a broad question. What have I been up to? Okay, so I feel as an alumni, the first part of everything was really, the post-grad funk is real. So I am working now. I work out in the Bay.
Hey!
So I'm excited. I'm there. I'm working for a great clothing company. We focus on creating masculine clothing for women and trans men. So we've been in the business for about 3.5 years now. I got the job through a customer service email that I sent because I was looking up fashion, looking up places to work that I thought combined fashion and my passion for social justice and activism, and this place popped up.
That's so amazing. I'm basically crying.
Did it have anything to do with your degree, or how has college helped you prepare for the job?
With my
I feel like I'm interrogating you.
No, it's good. So I personally,
stuff.
for me, I feel one of the biggest things, and I say this all the time, but it's not just about your degree. So just remember, when you're here, meet people, join something, do anything. Maybe even if it's not necessarily related to your degree, something that builds a skill. I use a lot of my experiences in Aggie Studios, my conference and event planning stuff for this job. So I do marketing, publicity. I feel I get to use a lot of my work and outside experience. So, even your coho job, you will get something out of that. But I definitely feel my degree goes with it too, because I graduated in communications. So
Nice.
yeah.
So what has been your highlight since you worked at your job?
Ooh.
Highlight of adulthood.
Highlight of adulthood.
Okay,
Question.
so wow.
And then the low light.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, okay,
highlight
yeah,
and
okay,
low
yeah,
light.
I could do that. Okay, so last night I went to this big fancy gala, really good cause for the Transgender Law Center. They were doing their 14th year, and it was this big fundraiser with a lot of like activists who I've only seen on like YouTube or and you know, I'm sitting next to them and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm over here having like, it's open bar. I don't know how to say that, but I was just like trying to get comfortable because it's so many like inspiring people, and I'm just, it was one of those first experiences that you don't forget. And then I think a low light for me is that I miss going home to like a loud house or going home to like, you know, a place where I can really kind of enjoy. I go home and there's not a lot of people out there and a lot of my friends are spread out. So keeping those connections is hard because you kind of want to talk every day, but at the same time, I miss it.
Sad that I'm like high-key anxious right now because I'm
No,
thinking about like
no.
graduating. I'm like, oh my god, I have to do all these things.
No, it's okay. It's fast, but don't be anxious because I feel like the right thing will come to you. And I know that that's my like altruistic side, but I feel like, you know, you'll fall where you need to.
Who can forget that very viral Facebook page, Miguel's
Oh
chest?
my god. Oh.
Did you
I
finally
was a
figure out who it was?
Yeah, I did. It was my intern. Every time they would see me, they would go and snap pictures of my chest because it would be out at different times. So it's out during important events. Big part of my life last year. It's a big part of my life.
So you put on your resume, like, I had a fan page.
No big deal.
I don't, but I talked about it in an interview.
Oh,
So I don't know,
there
breaks
we
the
go.
ice. It's kind of fun.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you so much for sitting with us here today, Miguel. We're so glad you're back.
Yay.
Love it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, once again, that wraps up another episode of Aggie Now. I'm Sabrina Sanchez.
I'm Isaura Yepez.
I'm Miguel Bagsit.
I've been Kevin Dousa.
And I'm Tania Josephine. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for next week's election special. Here's my bell.
Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel.
Yes, and follow